What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Marcelo. This is the Bass Wizard channel where I post all sorts of bass related content such as solo bass arrangements, gig vlogs where you can see me playing gigs out on the road, and even bass lessons such as the one that you're about to watch right now. So after you're done watching this video, make sure to check out some other videos. Subscribe to the channel. Stick around. You might like it. Alright, so in this video we're going to answer the question, should you play a 5-string bass? Now, this is a very common question that people have, and I think the reason is because a lot of people see a 5-string bass as more advanced than a 4-string, or as a next step in their evolution as a bass player. And really, that's not the case at all. There are amazing bass players out there that made a whole career out of just playing 4-string basses, and that's totally fine. But in order to really answer that question, let's dive deep into it. Let's analyze what are the differences between a 4-string bass and a 5-string bass. Aside from the obvious, it has an extra string, what are we really getting with that? Well, the main thing you're getting is an extended range of 5 extra notes. You're getting the low B, the low C, the low C sharp, the low D, and then that D sharp or E flat right here. And then everything else is pretty much the same that you would get on a 4-string bass. Now, an argument that a lot of people will make is that it makes fingering certain lines a lot easier because you have notes over here that you don't need to go all the way back here for. For example, there's an F right here. So say I'm playing here, and I want to play that F after that lick. If I'm on a 5-string bass, I don't need to do that stretch or move all the way here because there's an F right here. So I can go, but that statement is kind of true and false, because I think what a lot of people don't take into consideration is that yes, you have the notes up here. You have an F here instead of this F. You have a G here instead of this G. But what people don't take into consideration when they just throw that out as a blanket statement is that these notes do not sound the same as these notes. You're playing it on a thicker string, you're playing higher up the neck, and a lot of times you don't get as much sustain out of the note. The attack is different. It's just not really the same note. Pitch-wise, it's the same note, but tone-wise, feel-wise, it's not. And as an example, if we take this A on the 2nd fret of the G string and we play it up the neck on the different strings, look how different it sounds. It's going to sound very thin and weak down here on the G string. As I move up, it's going to get more low end and it's going to sound a lot bigger and fuller. Right? So they're not exactly the same note, exactly the same sound. And even when I'm playing 5-string bass, I still find myself a lot of times playing licks up here and still going back to hit those low notes because I just like the sound of those notes better than the sound that I get up here. So that alone is not something to take into consideration when you want to go from a 4-string to a 5-string. Really, the main benefit that I see is the extended range in the low notes without having to detune your E string or do any sort of altered tunings. And that's another point right there, is if you have a 4-string bass, you can still get this low D and D sharp right here by tuning your E string down a whole step. So tune your E to D and you have these notes. So really now you're down to 3 extra notes you're getting, which you may or may not ever need. And again, the D and the D sharp are going to be in an open string, so they're going to sound different, they're going to feel different. And in a lot of cases, I actually prefer playing a 4-string with the E tuned to low D than just using this low D right here, because having it as an open string is a really cool effect as well. For example, here I'll tune this down so we can show you an example. All right, it's close enough. So if I'm playing something like, I can do something like that, like just slide up and then hit that open D because it's just right there. And the open D on a 4-string, on an E string tuned down to D, sounds a lot bigger too than this one right here. Bigger sustain, everything. Look at this. Let's compare. That's the open string. And I actually know an incredible session bass player out here in Los Angeles that he only likes to play 4 strings, but he likes having that lower D string. So what he does is he tunes all 4 strings down a whole step, so he gets that lower range and that open low D string, but he can still play the bass tuned in 4th, so you still get all the shapes and everything, all the fingerings are the same, but he gets that extended range. So, you know, to answer the question once again, do you need a 5-string bass? No, you don't. Unless you need those lower notes and you want that extended range, you know, there's a lot that you have to deal with, even physically with the instrument. It becomes more challenging to play because now you're dealing with a wider neck. You're dealing with muting and controlling more strings. So it becomes a little bit more challenging technique-wise, and a lot of times it's not really worth it. So, you know, once again, do you need a 5-string bass? No, you do not need a 5-string bass unless you have a very specific reason for it. Like I said, I like playing it because I like having that lower range a lot of times, and sometimes I just like having that low D and D sharp without having to retune my E string. Although there's also a hip shot tuner that you can install on your E string, which makes even that process easier. And that's a really cool thing. That's something that I would recommend for a lot of 4-string players, because then you can just tune your E to a D with just a flip of a switch, and then you can just flip it right back to E with a flip of a switch, and it's really easy and you get that extended range. So, you know, I hope that with this video you understood a little bit more about the differences between the 4 and 5-string bass, reasons why you would get a 5-string bass, and reasons why you don't really need a 5-string bass. And most importantly, that the 5-string bass is not an upgrade from a 4-string bass, just like a 6-string bass is not an upgrade from a 5-string bass or even a 4-string bass. Okay, there's no upgrade. Bass is bass. It's whatever will get the job done. And 90 to 99% of the time, a 4-string will get the job done for everything. You never really need anything more than a 4-string. Sometimes it's nice to have a 5-string, it's nice to have that range, but do you really need it? The majority of times, no. So, hope that answers the question. If you guys have any more questions that I can answer for you, make sure to leave them in the comment below. Let me know what you thought of this video. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Make sure to leave a thumbs up in this video if you liked it, and I will see you guys on the next video.